Hello folks, today we are back with another ranty rant. I may be doing my Raven Guard thing later, I may not, I may do it tomorrow, I may do it on Thursday. It is recorded, well, it's going to be recorded straight after this one, the script is written, so I just need to do the hard work and record it now. But we are back out of the warp. If you like what I do, then please hit the subscribe button down below and get involved. The Discord down below is also free, so if you want to go on that one and have a little talk to us, make sure that you're getting a bit of a, I'm going to say attention. Not that, you know, that's what word's given a bad meaning these days. What I mean is, if you want to go on there and make sure that, you know, you can express your opinions, express your own mind, and make sure that you can, you know, have a talk to somebody if you're struggling, come over onto the Discord and have a word with us, because God knows at the moment, people in our hobby aren't making it very easy for us, are they? So, today was going to be a video on the Raven Guard, and I still will be either doing it today or tomorrow, whenever YouTube wants to upload it. But I've been reading over public Games Workshop accounts, as well as looking at their new releases, and just felt I needed to come on here and have a little talk about how they go about their business in a video that I'd like to call Games Workshop and Creative Assembly Terrible Business Practices. So you know which way this video is leaning. I want to do one of these every single year. I know last year I did this video a lot sooner in the year, so it was over the summer, because I wanted to go over things and how they were progressing in the hobby. I waited a little bit longer this year, just because I wanted to see if people would change the ways they were going about their business practices. I wanted to see the new accounts. It takes me ages to read the Games Workshop accounts, because they are quite convoluted, and I'm not an accountant, as you will find out later on in this video. I do have a wonderful person to help me out, and I have gone over my previous messages to him to help me understand the accounts that I can read. But he doesn't want to be named, so thank you very much for you. You know who you are. And let's get into the video. Let's just get into this so I can get this off my chest and we can all move on with our lives. Okay, I'm also sure that you heard today or yesterday that Creative Assembly, the guys who make the Warhammer Total War games, are going through their own PR crisis about harassment and toxic workplace behaviour. I won't name names, as I think it's wrong to do so unless proof is offered, right? So I'm not going to be going into that today. This video is going to be about the toxic nature at both Games Workshop and Creative Assembly, their selling models, and how both seem to damage the hobbies they claim to be champions of. Because if you've listened to any of my other videos, you know that, whilst I don't name names, there are a lot of people at Games Workshop, even right now, who are still working there, who act just like folks at Creative Assembly who are now being outed for their toxic behaviour, and they seem to get away with it, because no one wants to stick their head above the parapet and be like, hey, this shit's going on. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to be the first guy to do that, because at the end of the day, I'm just a small YouTuber, you know. I've given you what I can say it happened on my end, and I've had people corroborate that in the comment sections and things like that. So, you know, I've given you. I even have people saying you didn't work for Games Workshop, even though I actually give you my pay slips, and you can see that I work for Games Workshop in previous videos, right? So I get that all the time. I don't want to deal with that all the time, so I give you my stories from a humorous context to make sure that you can actually have a laugh, have a listen, and you can see what kind of toxic behaviour that goes on at somewhere like Games Workshop. To hear that it's going on at CA is horrible, and I hate it, and it shouldn't go on at all, but I can't say I'm surprised, because I think these two companies are two peas in a little violent, horrible pod. So, I'm going to get into my first part of the video, now that the preamble's over, and I'm past the 3-minute mark, which means I can swear as much as I bloody well like. So, Games Workshop, the mission statement is not the mission statement. The Games Workshop mission statement is this: we want to recreate the best wargaming models in the world, and we want to continue doing this forever. It may have changed in slight wording since my time at the company, but this is their blanket statement that is at the beginning of every management memo and training regimen booklet if you're going to be a manager. I would argue, however, that their current practices of selling models flies in the face of this mission statement, and will eventually lead it to not being true at all. Let's start with the obvious, shall we? The prices. First of all, let's cut GW a little bit of slack. Hobbies are expensive. It doesn't matter if you're a PC builder, a car enthusiast, or whatever. If you spend your free time on it, companies know that they have you over a barrel to enjoy the things you like, and so they will charge you accordingly. My problem is not that Warhammer is expensive. That's not the issue. My problem is that a lot of these prices exhibit daylight robbery and borderline extortion. If you really want to enjoy Warhammer, I hope you don't have any other hobbies to pay for or anything else going on in your life. And to make that point, let's have a look, shall we, at some of Games Workshop's models and some of the prices of said models. This is a Basilisk tank. It is over 20 years old. It comes in a little set like this, on 4 easily made sprues from any 3D printer in the world. Games Workshop would like to charge you £35. Is that for a unit of 3, you say? No, it is for one ancient ass Basilisk tank that doesn't even have the right details on the model. If you see that little tarpaulin on the side of it there, have you ever seen a tarpaulin do that? Stick to the side like a fly, swatted into the side of a fucking tank? No, of course you haven't, because this model is ancient. It's not made using modern cutting techniques. It's not made using modern molds. It is an old model that you are paying top dollar for. And my god, if you are in Australia and you create it and you want Imperial Guard or Iron Warriors and you want Basilisk tanks, I hope you've sold your house. I hope you've sold your family. I hope you've cut out your own spleen and you've given it to some cannibal so he can eat it and he can give you some money for it, because you're not going to be collecting anything like this anytime soon. Good luck, go fuck yourself, because that's what Games Workshop are. They don't give a shit. They will sell you subpar things for top quality prices. Let me go over here to the lovely Space Marines. Look at these lovely new sculpts, right? Lovely new sculpts. One guy, one captain, £24. £24. That is the price of a modern day AAA game on Steam if it's been out for a year. If it's been out for a year and then you go and get a game on Steam, it'll be around $24.99. The same price as this Gravis captain in his armour. And this price will never go down, by the way. Games Workshop prices only ever trend upwards. They never go down. They never go anywhere. They are always on the up. Let's look at these. The actual starter box sets. £32.50 for, let's be honest, 10 models, so nothing much really, and not even the real rule book. You have the Elite Edition to start the game with, £65, a few more models, not even the real rule book, and then you get to the Command Edition. Alright, a bit more models, the real rule book's in there. Hooray! For £110, the real rule book's in there. Well, fucking bubbly do. Fantastic. Thank you, GW. Thank you for taking my money for a subpar product that doesn't even do anything for me. Oh, by the way, I don't think this scenery is in the box set. See the scenery there? Yeah, not in the box set. Pretty sure it's not in the box set. I'm going to have a look at that. I want to just double check myself. If it is in the box set, I will be impressed. Is it in the box set? Is it in the box set? 24 rules and dice, plastic train, push plastic train. So half of it is in the box set. Half of that stuff that they're advertising there is in the box set. Lovely. Okay, fair enough. Half of it is in the box set. Wonderful, brilliant. A normal standard Space Marine unit, £36. These are your bog standard Primaris Intercessors, the bog standard Space Marines of the current edition. £36, please. You need 3 or 4 of these to be on your army to have a nice standard, core Space Marine army right there. 3 or 4 times 36. I'm shit at maths. That's why I did history at school, and I didn't do maths very well. But that is a lot of money. A hell of a lot of money. These are ridiculous prices for anything. For anything. Never mind models. But why do Games Workshop feel the need to charge so much for their models? Well, have a look at their annual report and you'll see GW do exponential growth every single year. And I will link it in the description down below. Go and have a look yourself. I'm sure there are lots of you who have bigger brains than I can, who can divulge in more detail on this. But not just that, they are making many millions in straight profits after all of their expenses, including wages and manufacturing, rent of floor space, and so forth. Once all of those are accounted for, Games Workshop are still making tens and tens and tens of millions in profit every single year. I will not go into too much detail here. I've read through the accounts with some help, but I am not an accountant and will not spread any misinformation by trying to analyse something I know next to nothing about. The truth is there in black and white, however, and it is a truth anybody can understand. Games Workshop are making astronomical profits on a yearly basis and do not, N-O-T, not need to charge what they do for their models. Indeed, if they want to charge what they currently do for their models, then more models should come in the box to make the hobby more accessible to everybody. As a Games Workshop manager, I often came across single parents heading to the store with young teenagers wanting to get into the hobby. They were not rude enough to get angry, most of them, at the prices, but you could all but hear their hearts dropping in their chests as they looked at the hope in their kids' eyes and saw the pricing model of our hobby in the store. Let's not forget, these parents are needing to pay rent and things like that, and get that out the way before even contemplating things like models and hobbies for their kids and themselves. Games Workshop do not pay their own staff enough to cover their own rent. However, so why the hell would they not charge a single working mother through the nose for the same products? I've given you my pay slips in the past, I've shown them to you. They do not pay you enough to cover your own rent. They don't. If you do not live at home, do not start working for Games Workshop. You can't afford it. You can't afford it. You literally can't afford it. If you don't have a partner who is subsidising the house, is going 60-40 with you on the house, or wherever you are, if you don't live at home and so you can only give your token rent, do not start working for Games Workshop at the bottom. Do not start as a sales assistant, and do not start as a manager. They do not pay you enough to cover rent in the modern world. Especially with things going up, they just don't pay you enough. They do not pay you enough. It's black and white. They do not pay you enough to live in the modern world. In fact, they probably expect you to pay them for the honour of working for Games Workshop and being able to do your hobby as a job. Brilliant. The problem is, that job ruins said hobby for you, so you never want to see another fucking Citadel model for as long as you live. It took me almost 3 years to paint my first Citadel miniature after leaving Games Workshop. Yeah. We were well into the end of 2020 when I started again. I was actually on the channel when I started talking about it. We were well into the end of 2020. Unbelievable. There is no mercy at Games Workshop in terms of prices. And therefore, and before people bleat about capitalism, before you start on that, right? Fire is not evil because it burns. It is the person holding the flaming torch, throwing it at a thatched roof, that is evil. The flame isn't evil. The person throwing the flaming torch at the roof, that's the person who's evil. Games Workshop is holding market needs and capitalist policies just like this torch, and they are throwing it at your fucking house. Right, it's not capitalism's fault. It's Games Workshop's fault. Don't let them get away with it. Don't be saying it's capitalism's fault. Don't be doing that, right? All capitalism does, it makes sure that if there is a need for a product, that the demand goes up, that the prices go up. It makes sure that people are making money by providing a service, right? And that Games Workshop are already doing that. They're already doing that. But they're using it as a tool to whack you over the head and take money out of your wallet. Let us think about the collectors of the current best army in the Warhammer 40,000 meta, just to accentuate my point a little bit more, right? What is the current meta in Warhammer 40,000? Do you think it's Space Marines? Chaos? Any of the other brand new model sets that people already want and will buy regardless of the rules because they are new and look cool? Nope. The current meta are Tyranids. A model line that has not seen an update in almost 20 years. Let's have a look at them, shall we? Yeah, these are Tyranids. And if you are waiting for the Warhammer talk, it is coming. But for God's sake, look at these things. Look at these things. I mean, £24 for a Hormagaunt brood. They look like spastic people in cosplay outfits. What's going on? You will see better costumes at Halloween. We're around Halloween. You will see better costumes then. Let's have a look at the only cool thing they've got are the big beasties. The Tervigon, yeah, the Trigon, my favourite. There's the Trigon, right? £52.50, please. £52.50 for a model that we've made thousands of that we could just give away, to be honest with you, because we've had it since the early 2000s and, you know, it's a really old model that doesn't cost us anything to make anymore. But no, £52.50 please. 2 sprues. £52.50. Joke. Joke. Here's the main offenders. What are these? What are these? Look at these. These are modelled after the xenomorph in Alien. Right? Supposed to be. What is this Cthulhu-looking motherfucker on the right-hand side? Literally looks like a cosplayer. That looks like somebody in a gimp suit with some tentacles on their face. These are ancient models that even back then looked goofy as shit. £22.50, please. Yeah? And if these guys on the tabletop take any sort of punishment, they're going down. £22.50. £22.50. You know? Are they as expensive as the Space Marines? No, of course they're not. Right? Because they know you want the Space Marines. So what do to make sure that you want to buy the Tyranids? They make them the best army in the game. They make them the best army in the current meta of 9th edition. The best. Without fail, right? Most tournaments are being won by Tyranids. Go and look it up. Go on YouTube. Go on anyone who's looking at the major GTs. Right? All the major ones around the world. Tyranids are smashing it at the moment. And they're smashing it because their model line is shit. We saw it with Imperial Guard. Imperial Guard in 8th edition for 5-6 months were broken as shit. Absolutely decimating everybody. Why? Because their model lines had not been updated in 20 plus years and Games Workshop wanted to sell them. That's why. That's why I will never get on board with matched play. Because I don't trust Games Workshop to do it properly and with an honest heart of making a balanced game for everybody that people are going to enjoy. They are meta chasers. They will chase the meta by having you buy shit-ass models because they're the best in the game. Right? Have you ever noticed that the brand spankly new models, every now and again they'll be really powerful, but the army as a whole is always middling? Space Marines, Chaos, right? Eldar. Kind of, anyway. 1 second. Sorry, needed to blow my nose. Have you ever noticed they're always kind of middling, right? Or they're in the top half, you know what I mean? They're battling away. But they're not like the meta. No, the meta is always these old armies. Your Necrons, your Tyranids, your Imperial Guard. They're always the models that aren't going to sell for shit. Because they look like crap. And they're never going to be updated. Why won't Games Workshop update them? Because that would cost them money. And God forbid they spend money making sure you have something good to buy. Right, that is my rant on Tyranids. I'm sick of them pulling this. They pull this every single edition, and I'm sick of it. Absolutely sick to death of this kind of thing. Look at the state of him, man. Look at it. He looks like he's running forward hoping to die. Do you want to know what Tyranids should look like? Go and play Deathwing. Go and play Deathwing. Go and play that, the video game Deathwing. That's what Tyranids should look like. These, I just don't want to talk about. I don't look at them anymore. They're ruining my day. Go away. I'm done with them. Right. So, and breathe. Are they really worth the same as the Chaos Space Marines or Space Marine sculpts? No, of course they're not. Games Workshop have invented their value by making sure their rules are some of the best in the current edition to ensure they sell well. They are geniuses at manipulating their captive market into giving them more money. That's what you are. You're a captive market giving them more money. This is why I have a constant bee in my bonnet about Games Workshop, their pricing model, and the way they treat their customers as mindless whales. And let's be honest, some of you are just as much to blame as Games Workshop are, because you are those whales who will buy this shit, who will get pulled in by this kind of tactic, right? This is why I will no longer decry resellers and even recasts of older model sets. If you want to recast Tyranids and Imperial Guard, man, go for it. Go for it. I'm done with them. Like last year, that's the one big thing that's changed in my opinion. Last year I was dead against recasts. I thought it was going to kill the hobby. But you know what? They're killing the hobby. They're killing the fucking hobby themselves. By doing this. by taking the piss. They're killing the hobby. So if the custodians of the hobby want to kill it, you go and you use the capitalist tools that they use. Go and use them yourselves, and go look elsewhere for your models, right? GW have had ample opportunity to give you value for money. And if they want to use market capitalism as an excuse to steal your hard-earned cash with substandard products, you should be able to go to use those same capitalistic traits to either do better yourself with a 3D printer or go elsewhere for your hobby fix. That is your right as a consumer. Fuck their copyright for things like this, because they abuse it anyway with other people. You know. I've made the excuse. I've made the argument of the Fulgrim and Griffith from Berserk. You know, the absolute stealing that Games Workshop does of other people's IP, Starship Troopers, things like that, right? All of these things. Dune. If you've ever read Dune, a lot of those things will be very familiar to you because Games Workshop stole them all. Haha. Right? They don't have any right anymore to have it both ways. If they want to give us amazing products and say, please don't abuse our copyright, that's one thing. But to shit on the faces of people who love Tyranids and Imperial Guard, all of these older armies like Necrons, and then say, oh, by the way, don't you dare go elsewhere for your hobby. If you want to play Necrons or Imperial Guard or Tyranids or any of the older armies, don't you dare. No. That's our IP. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. You're not a captive audience. Realise you can go elsewhere. Do it yourself. Go and get a 3D printer and do it yourself. Because they don't deserve your money if you're collecting Tyranids, Imperial Guard, old Eldar sculpts, anything that's not been updated for 20 plus years, even Grey Knights. If you love Grey Knights, right, I cannot recommend you go and buy Games Workshop products. I can't. Unless you can afford to go and get Stormcast Eternals and convert them into Grey Knights, I can't recommend that you go and you use Games Workshop for your Grey Knight fix. And I'm a Grey Knight player, and I want to support Games Workshop for making Grey Knights. I can't justify it anymore. Their models are shit. They're not the best models anymore. Right, moving on. Be like Mr. Pink from Reservoir Dogs, people. Vote with your wallet. Don't play the game. Moving on to Creative Assembly. This is when things should get rather interesting. Because, I'm going to be honest, Creative Assembly are, not the best people around at the moment. With the current news that's going on, let's be quite clear. But Creative Assembly were well on their way to Greed City long before they ever crossed paths with Games Workshop. Look at the gutted Spartans from Rome 2 Total War before its release. Look at the full price DLC and base game charged by Creative Assembly for years after that game dropped in the absolute travesty of a state that it did. And before I do anything else, I just want to show you something. Right, this is a video about Angry Joe back in the day, and I really like Angry Joe because I used to anyway, because I've not really watched much of his stuff anymore, but it is what it is. Look at the fucking state of this. This is release Rome 2. Release. On release. You can see a Spartan warrior standing there, awaiting the charge. Here we go. I don't know why they're marching in the opposite direction. All the other Greek city-states are marching away, not wanting to go anywhere near the Spartans. Okay. Let's see what happens here. Are we going to charge in? Let's see what the AI does. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's going to charge. Oh, they're charging. Brilliant, they're charging. Are they going to make a fool of me? Oh, they're charging. No, they're running away. Okay, fair enough, and they're going to be shot by arrows again. This was release Rome 2. This is the game that they brought out, right? Subpar standard shit. And if you dared to go elsewhere, if you dared to pirate their game, you can bet they would be the first ones there, drying their eyes, battering their eyelids at you, saying, please don't pirate our games. Look at the state of this. Look at the state. I'm an ancient historian, right? CA releasing Rome 2 in this way devastated me after years of hype and excitement. To be shown that a company had so little regard for their own product, and what's worse, the time period that they would release a game like this, made me want to drop them like a stone. And so I did. I went back to Shogun 2, and I played that. I only ever played Rome 2 with heavy mods, and even then, the stench of modern Creative Assembly was overpowering that I had to just stop. Creative Assembly released patch after patch that just held the game together without improving it. They added cosmetic nonsense and made you pay to have blood in the game you ordered. You know, that game about warfare using swords and spears and fucking arrows. Pay us money or your battles will look silly and cartoonish. This was the Creative Assembly before they came into contact with Games Workshop. And what have we had since? Warhammer Total War, ladies and gents. That's what we've had since. You thought Sparta and the Greeks being locked off was bad? Oh no, 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 my sweet summer child. How about dozens of lords and entire races locked behind overpriced paywalls? How about a game that is so clunky and unresponsive that you have fanboys on Reddit protesting that this is how the game is supposed to be, quote unquote, because it has dwarves and slower races in it? Are you retarded? Are you... Seriously? Do you, what is going on? Remember the hero units in Shogun that were ridiculous and borderline frustrating thanks to their sheer power? That were only balanced because they were so expensive to take into battle, and that would go down if swamped or exposed to missile fire? Yeah, go check any video about Warhammer Total War and find absolute smooth brain morons talking about Doom stacks, quote unquote, and OP exploits, quote unquote. Total War is gone. And I love Warhammer. You know I do. I'm trying to be calmer. I'm trying. I even really enjoy Warhammer 3 for what it is. So this isn't a rant about the games being just terrible and gone and horrible. What it is an easy strategy game with a Warhammer Old World skin. I play it for that. I don't play it because it's Total War. Because Total War is fucking dead. And the more we support Games Workshop in their current practices of overpricing and overcharging for the game that we love, the more we push it into being more like Total War. I don't want to end up like those fans. I don't want to end up like that fan base. I don't want to be the Voland guy of Warhammer who is abused and gone after by my own fan base, by the own people that I'm trying to be an advocate for, right? Because I think that our community is better than that. I think we are a better community than a Total War community. I know that's controversial, I've said it. And sometimes they do overlap, I know. But when you see the way the advocates over there are treated, it's not great. It is not great because they have their best interests at heart. They're trying to make sure Creative Assembly are held accountable. And they get shit on for it. But this is where we are now. And Creative Assembly have learned from the best. Warhammer Total War resembles the real-life counterpart as each part of your hobby is cut off from the rest. How about this? Total War fans, listen to this bit. Want to collect an army in real-life Warhammer? Well, buy the base game. Buy your army box set. Buy the core rules. And then buy your army's codex/battle tome, as your army's rules, of course, do not come with the base game that you bought from the store. Does that sound familiar, Total War fans? It should, because this is what Creative Assembly have stooped to since acquiring the Warhammer license, and they showed real signs of wanting to lean in this direction for years before ever touching Warhammer. Warhammer players have put up with it for years, and I'm sorry it's infecting your hobby too, because in all honesty, I don't think, unlike us, you have anywhere else to turn. The only issue I see, the one issue, is that whilst Games Workshop's customers have alternative methods to explore, to engage with their hobby, right? Like 3D printing, like resellers, like eBay, like people like that, we can sell to each other. I do not see one for the Total War fan who wants to support Total War games going forwards. Mainly because Creative Assembly shows so little interest in making them instead of chasing the money train. I'm losing my voice, but what do you think? Are there alternatives for those wanting good Total War games? If so, post them in the comments down below. Will Games Workshop ever find a right? Will they ever right the ship and stop taking the piss out of their own fans in terms of pricing? Please let me know in the comments down below. This has been Northern Exile. I have been very, very, very tired about doing things like this all of the time. Oh, it's just... Some of these rants have to happen, though, and this is why I keep these ones about Games Workshop open practices to one a year or one every couple of months. I love you all long time. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll speak to you either today or tomorrow for some Raven Guard stuff. See you then. Have a good one. Bye.